Okay, so here I am after country picks in medieval. And this took a little bit of thought, kind of balancing things out and thinking about out of what's available, what could be useful. As usual with my games, I'll start here from the left. That's my first player way up there in the corner. You can barely see, but we'll zoom in on him. The lighting's terrible in the morning here. And then I swing around counterclockwise, and that's the order I'll be playing in through the other players. Okay. So, for the picks, the first player started with England. The reason being, I looked at the different powers and said, okay, I want a decent power that can't be taken by the Mongols. I don't want to lose, one of my early powers to the Mongols if I can help it. Well, England seemed a nice choice if people left things alone. For example, the Almoravids. I could have a good second power in the same position. Similar thoughts roll, and you can see, here's my solution to the limited counters. I just share them on a card. What the hell, between the cards. I don't see any real reason why you can't kind of clump the cards together under a particular ruler. And then you can move them as rulers change or whatever, but the single counter does seem fine for the most part. Here we started with the Holy Roman Empire. Powerful positioning, and not bad to begin with 6 florins. That's not as good as England's 9, but it is... Why has England got 9? Controls France 1B. See, I think some of these are mislabeled, because England actually starts with 7 at the beginning of the game. But they have another territory off here that they shouldn't be getting for their starting income. So I think some of these cards are misprinted. I'll look that up if I get a chance and remember. But that will affect the starting income for the players, perhaps. Anyway, Holy Roman Empire seemed like a good choice. We can see what they ended up with as their backup, which came... Basically, everybody picked their first one going around, and then over here, the guy who took Venice also got a second one, and then we came back this way. Well, this is what was left, and it's not a bad option. I kind of based it on a couple of things. The pluses here, they're a good military power. If I lose that bad ruler, I've got a pretty potent thing, and it stretches off the map. The weakness, it's one province. Someone could take it from me, the whole power, before I get a chance to expand the world. So I'll probably be drawing map cards early on to try to expand both the Empire and the Ayyubids and Mamluks. France, again, good ratings here, especially on the land combat. Good ruler to begin with. And a fairly rich country, 6 florins at the beginning, and more available when Brittany comes in. Second choice of Seljuk, also a good stats for the country. Has some expansion on cards. And didn't really have any enemies around. In fact, didn't have anything terribly around until the Ayyubids showed up. Spain, the other big boy in the west, with a good ruler and a good home country. Although they don't own all of it. And again, they're at a risk. An unlucky war, they could get knocked out as a power, and the Ayyubids could take them over. Or, sorry, not the Ayyubids, the Almoravids. I should know that. And as a secondary power, another risky single province power, in this case one that's always single province, Hungary, with a bad ruler but a lot of money. 5 florins for that territory seemed like a good payoff in terms of secondary provinces. The biggie here, Venice. Great naval power, lousy land power, which means it's hard to capture stuff with them. But a good amount of money with these territories. Although they may be 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they're there. And Russia, a tremendous amount of money with 7. But they've got to build up maps. Not only to add more Russian territory, but to start putting some padding between themselves and the Mongols. And I think when you build up maps, you're not allowed to collect income or something. Yeah, I think you're not allowed to collect income if you build maps. Somewhere it specifies it better. These rules are pretty bad. No big shock. Alright. See here, I'm going to collect income. It says he may do nothing else. Well, he certainly gets to draw cards in his mandatory card phase, so it's only his action phase, which is actually what it says. If he has undertaken phase B, the map card selection, you can't play a Pope. So if you expand the world, you can't play the Pope. Alright, but being able to collect income is pretty bonus because, although I think, yeah, because he's got a lot of cash, and cash is important in this. It factors in heavily in the military combat. That's what you bid with. It's almost got a Dune-like atmosphere with that bidding on combat units. Of course, it's just money. It's just it's something that you just bid for the fight. You win the fight. It goes away. But it's not like the Dune situation where you're risking that stuff if you lose. You don't have that kind of dichotomy. You just have, hey, how much you want to pay for this fight? You know, how important is this to you? Which could be a big deal. All right, we'll kick this off, but it's time for me to go to work now. All right, having some trouble actually kicking off and starting this, but I got the cards out. The English don't particularly want to do a map selection. Their current powers, England and the Almoravids, put them in a position where they're in the safe area of the map. They'll let other people expand the board. But they have a couple of powers in their hand that they'd like to slap down. So they're going to throw Denmark down. And that's going to be a normal ruler, so I'll put a normal ruler there. And they get the cash, the 1 florin for that. Now, I'm not doing the collect taxes because that eats up your entire phase. You don't get to play the action cards if you do that. And I get a control marker down here in Serbia. Now, Serbia is not exactly where I want to be, but, you know. Oh, I'm sorry, Denmark is the other one. Let's put that here. Now Denmark's going to have another card, access on another card here, and Serbia has access on this card, and I get another florin for that, and another normal ruler, so I'll try to mark that. I don't know, kind of like this, sort of. And I didn't give them the cash. Now, I have a couple of Pope cards. I could get some extra cash through one of these, I think, by throwing a crusade. With a couple of them, it doesn't seem like a bad idea, but you know what? France is my problem. I'm going to play one of my Pope cards, hey, Pope Urban, and I'm going to excommunicate the King of France. If I can find him. Now, that gets marked. How? It gets marked on the power itself. Okay. Does it go here or does it go here? I don't know. I'm going to put it on the card because that seems to be more associated with the power. That's going to cause some problems for him. Do I want to trigger my other card? I don't know. See, this is what's hard here is, what if I do a crusade? What do I get out of it? Or What happens out of excommunication? Well, I certainly don't want to trigger a crusade after having done that. Yeah, I'm going to throw another excommunication down. I'm going to excommunicate the Spaniards as well. Between the two of them, they kind of threaten my two powers, or at least the areas my powers have expanded into. Now I get to fight. Now here's where the game gets kind of weird. In both cases, I have no bonus, whereas the Spanish ruler has a +2 and a +1. And this is what's tricky. And the French ruler has a +2 and a +1. I'm at a disadvantage fighting. I have more money, though. And that's 17 bucks to 10 to 9. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to attack Spain, I think. Yeah, see, France, it's easier I can get to, and I could make an attack from the Danes or the Serbian. Well, the Serbians aren't going to get anywhere easily, but I could make an attack from the Danes, who are more powerful, cutting through the French territory. That's a difference of nothing, really, because I lose the +1 in order to gain the +1. So I'm going to attack with the Almoravids against Spain. We'll see how this works. I'm planning on wiping Spain off the map. Great. All right. How does the attack work? Well, and yes, we're going into tremendous detail here on the first player action, but we're kind of showing how the game is working, and I'm learning it at the same time. So, for me to fight, I have a base strength of 0 with my Almoravids because they have a poor ruler. Spain has got a base strength of +3 with its ruler. It gets all those bonuses because this is a home province it's defending. Here's the tricky part. It's adding the money. How much do I want to add? And the Spanish might have a Knight of Christ card. They do not. So, here the issue is, do I want to just wipe Spain off the map for this? And my answer is yes, if I can. That's what I went for. So I have a total of -3 to my balance, essentially. If I throw 15 bucks in, I cancel that out. Now, on Spain's hand, they will lose Spain if they lose this fight. So they're throwing everything they can, all 9 bucks in. And this, actually, I more than cancel it out, because this divided by 3 is 5. This divided by 3 is 3. So Spain is going to have a 3, 4, 5, 6. And England, cancel this out, has a 5. I'll use a yellow die for Spain. And they're at +1 on this fight. It's a tie that goes to the defender. And there's essentially no effect. Nobody loses anything except all that money. England's kind of low on cash at this point. They could launch an attack up here on Norway. The Holy Roman Empire could conceivably do a naval interdiction of that, but they may not wish to. So what if I did attack? I've already attacked with the Almoravids. I don't have a lot of money, so I'd be going at a 0. I might as well make this attack, so I'm going to go try to conquer Norway. Oh, I had to spend $1 for the attack itself, and now it would cost me another $1 to grab Norway. I'll go for it. This could all be very risky. And I'm going to go with my Danes because there's no real harm to it. And I just roll the dice and we see what happens. I don't think the Empire wants to intervene in this particularly. They're not terribly interested in Norway. And the English win in Norway. So they capture it. Now they don't really get anything off the bat. They just get some additional territory. If the Norway card comes up and is played while they hold that, they get it. Alright. I'm going to load this one up. And we're going to the Holy Roman Empire and the Ayyubids. And eventually, this is going to, I'm not going to go in anywhere near this kind of detail, and certainly not this clumsily either. But right now, I really did want to kind of see what's going on. I think after this first play, I'll do a little bit more detail for the rest of the first round, and then we'll go to a very high overview of the game.